So welcome, Vicky, once again to the show. The way we, weekly we are doing like what is happening there in especially in Afghanistan and Taliban, and with that respect, how India should be reacting. So today we are basically talking about that, how India should move forward in terms of diplomatic relationships with Taliban, because we understand this thing that for now, from now on, it is going to be Taliban there in Afghanistan. Going forward, so first question that I would like to ask you, that how would the age-old relationship with India and Afghanistan, how is that is going to be affected with now Taliban there being in power and being seeing a little bit more of a liberal side of Taliban rather than very regressive side of Taliban.
No, Akash, first thing, looking at what is happening there, I just, was just looking through a report that, the soldiers are, the fighters are going house to house, looking for girls to get married. So that is clearly no liberal policy, one. Okay. And with regard to our relationship, there's been nothing to write about, where Taliban is concerned. Okay, there's been absolutely nothing. But when the democratically elected government, when Ghani's government was there, at that time, relationships were fine. There were no problem. We had talks, we were undertaking developmental works. But with Taliban, clearly nothing to write about, considering, I can still go back to Kandahar, and then, the plane landed on their airfield out there. And, it was a back channel negotiation. So that is one thing which was happening. I don't see immediately, that, there's something that is really going to change with the Taliban. And I also, shouldn't forget that, the way Pakistan has been backing them, the Taliban, whether, they would allow them to even, talk to us immediately, because there's too much happening now. It's all about, people running out of the country, and, there's a lot of chaos. So diplomatically, I don't think in the next couple of months, nothing is going to happen.
Right. So you feel like that on a diplomatic level, India is not going to even talk to Afghanistan in terms of, because let's be very honest, India has a huge infrastructure projects that they're running there in Afghanistan as of now, and Taliban has actually requested India to come back and restart those infrastructure projects that they have. Do you think that in terms of that, India will cautiously, at least will try to start a channel of talk with Taliban? Because let's be honest, there was a channel of Taliban with Taliban in terms of getting our people and our assets back to India, and India is still doing that. So, what do you think that India will let go of all those infrastructure projects that they are running there?
No. I don't think India will let go of that infrastructure. But currently, I think it's going to be a standstill, because a number one point is because there's too much of fighting happening, and there's too much of talk on whether US is going to extend the withdrawal post August 31st. So all those talks are still going on. And one more thing, Akash, most importantly now, if you go to talk there, whom do you speak with? There is no leader as such, who's been, the government has not been formed as yet. Okay, the government has not been, unless, there is some clarity of, who's heading the government and who's under him, and there's a proper structure which comes under, unless a proper structure is formed, uh, the question is, whom do we speak to now? I was speaking to a couple of officials over the past week, and they say they don't see anything, moving between India or Afghanistan at least until November, December, because it is going to take that much of time for all the chaos to settle down. Okay, so it is very important that as we discussed in the previous chat, that that let's adopt that wait and watch policy, and let the whole that US confusion, etc., all that get sorted out, because again, dilly dallying. Although Joe Biden is saying that he will not delay the he'll not push the deadline post August 31st. Let us see what happens on that. But purely on the India context, if you have to look at it, then I would say that it's going to take at least 2 to 3 months before we have any clarity on that position.
Like, and you said, Vicky, that Joe Biden is saying that we are not going to move away from the 31st of August, which is the deadline to remove all the Western assets from out of Afghanistan. But there is a lot of pressure on Joe Biden also from other countries, from the NATO allies, because they are not able to get their assets out of there as of yet, and they want to extend that August 31st deadline. And even Taliban, to an extent, has said that they would not allow any further Western interference post 31st of August. So, do you feel that there could be a loggerheads between the Western powers and Taliban post 31st of August, or there would be a back channel talk? Because we heard that CIA chief had a one-to-one with the Taliban chief over there in Kabul a few days back regarding this thing.
Yeah. See, Joe Biden has made it extremely clear that there is not going to be any extension of deadline. See, the thing is, I mean, he's very right when he says, there's, I mean, they couldn't continue fighting the war forever. The only thing that you can say that it was a very hasty withdrawal. They didn't think it through. It was not dialing down of troops further, and they could have at least helped in a proper transition. One, okay, which did not happen. You can't fight in a country and just walk away. Like you saw what happened in Iraq. One thing. So about the deadline, I think. As of now, it looks very difficult. That I mean, it looks. I mean, I don't think the deadline will be extended, and unless we have some clarity on what kind of agreement did the CIA and Taliban chief reach. One, as of now, the posturing by the Taliban is very simple. That they are not going to accept any kind of extension of deadline. Okay. So, and if those back channel talks have not gone well, and US continues to extend the deadline, then there's it's going to plunge into more chaos because they're going to fight at that this one. The only thing I see happening is the back channel talks. What could have possibly happened was about the extension of the deadline that would have been brought up. But US would want the transition to happen better now. Now, especially I'm saying that meeting would have mostly focused on course correction. Because the whole world is just looking at it and saying that it was a complete failure on the part of Biden administration to withdraw in such haste. So deadline, I'm still doubtful, but I think they could be dialing down of all the violence, etc., and the talks to let all the Westerners go out. The rest of the people don't trouble them, like don't stop them at airports, etc. So to have a peaceful exit for everybody, I would see the talks between the CIA chief and Taliban chief more on those lines.
Right, yeah, correct. And the course correction. But what would be India's course correction in terms of Taliban? Because we heard that there was a raid on Indian embassies in Mazar-e Sharif, in Herat, and few of the other places, and in Kandahar also, not in Kabul, because the Kabul embassy is still operational. It has not been completely locked down because of the process that is happening of evacuation of Indian Afghan Sikhs, Afghan Hindus, and other Afghan assets for India. So, what do you think that how would India even react to that? Because the intel says that there was some ISI input into it. They asked these Talibani fighters to go into Indian embassies and ransack them for few documents. They didn't find anything, so they just took away their cars. So how would India react to that?
I don't know. I think, I mean, it would be too early to tell, Akash, one, okay, because, I'm not saying that, we are not talking at all. There must be somewhere we are talking, one thing, okay, that is this one. I mean, because we had absolutely no, teething issues when it comes to the evacuations from there. That is one, okay, except that one, little confusion which happened last Saturday, when 150 people, were, taken away, etc. And
right.
then clarified that, it was only to the police station for verification. So as of now, doing anything, see, our top priority now is to get our people out safe. One thing, we don't want to lose even one single person out there. That is our top priority. So there won't be any, I would say that, that matter is still under investigation about the raids at the embassy, but they're doing it at every embassy also. Okay, Akash, that is one, all right. There is a set of them which, do go berserk, etc. And of course, ISI, not now, it's, ever since, several decades, they've been backing the Taliban, and they more or less do whatever the ISI asked them to do. Because, even in Kandahar, it was the ISI which asked the Taliban to, give them space there, and all the, last minute handover, of the hostages, with Masood Azhar, etc. All, being this one. Taliban was basically ISI's puppet. So right. They will continue to be so right now. So as of now, I think our main intention is to get all our citizens out safe and, not get a little adventurous there, which, could further, ruin the processes for us.
Right. Exactly. And apart from that, so like in terms of the CA, now that this whole thing has taken a new turn altogether. Even you wrote about this thing, that how now the demand for CA has actually risen up from all quarters, even from those people, even from those political outfits in India who are saying that we don't want any CAA, in we don't want, and there should be an inclusion of minority. When you say minorities, there should be Muslim minorities also. They're sticking to that point, but they are still backing the CAA. So how does the Indian government move forward in terms of CAA as of now? Do you think that the crisis in Afghanistan basically has helped the government in order to, maybe, help them in pushing the CAA, because it became an act. It was first just a bill. It has definitely become an act. But to impose that act, this could be a good catalyst for the government.
See, Akash, one thing, I've seen certain media reports also, let's get one thing very clear is that, the people from Afghanistan are coming into India not because of the CA, one thing, okay? Because,
Right.
there will be a lot of misconceptions saying, because CA is there, they're able to fly in. That's not what it is. Even if they fly in, there is that 6-year waiting period, correct? There is a 6-year waiting period. So now what India needs to do basically is that all these persecuted minorities which are there, you start giving them citizenship, those who fulfill that requirement of 6 years, you start doing that. Okay, in that way what happens is we tend to we will convey a message to the world saying that a lot of countries will say no, no these refugees, no these refugees, etc. and all that. These finally were part of a greater Bharat at one point of time, so they need they need to have a country to come down. If you're living in a country and you're being tortured or persecuted, this way we can say that these people have a country for themselves. The demarcation of the Hindus, Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, which form part of the CA. So what I'm saying is that it's the right time to send across a message to the world saying that that this bill is only meant for these people who are a persecuted religious minority in these 3 countries. Okay, so that is one thing. So I think immediately now we should seize the opportunity and start handing out the citizenship for all those persecuted minorities who are there in our country, who fall under the purview of the CA. So I mean, to that extent we should start.
And do you feel that in the longer run, in terms of CAA, can we see the same thing happening with the there is a dwindling number of minorities in Pakistan and Bangladesh? Could India help put this as a case study? What happened in Afghanistan, and basically push the CAA in order to get those people in the country?
Right. See, the thing is, the persecuted minority, there are a lot of people, from Pakistan, Afghanistan, as well as Bangladesh who are already here. So all those people who completed the 6-year period are entitled for citizenship. One. Okay, one. And if anybody even now, reaches out, from these 3 countries saying that we want to come here, this one, India will reach out and bring them here and, continue with that, this one. But one thing I would also say, Akash, and in this thing of bringing in everybody, this earlier I was writing one story, you said, you can't say that, secularism should precede national security. These people have to be screened, number one, okay, have to be screened. You never know, who ISI would try to push, he could be a, pro-Taliban or pro-ISI person. In all this chaos, this has to happen. And in the case of such people, you properly screen these people, you keep a watch on them at least for another year, and then you see how it is panning out, whether the new Afghanistan government is ready to take these refugees back. Okay, all these things are very, very critical at the moment. So we have to also look at it in the security point of view. I mean, we don't always have to be over generous and then, and over generous and, have someone and then create one problem for us itself out here. They come, he could be part of a sleeper cell, he could be part of a, radicalization, module, etc. So there are challenges. So I would also say that, while the evacuation is good, etc., shouldn't let our guard down.
Exactly, and there is a lot of talk on various social media platforms that India should just bring back Hindus and Sikhs, Afghan Hindus and Sikhs, and not the Afghan citizens in India as a part of a repatriation thing. Do you believe that that should be the issue as of now?
See, I mean, traditionally as a country, we do not have that kind of a policy. Okay, once, we're like, if you look at the Tibetans one, it started there. Okay, even the Bangladeshi refugees, all that. See, on a humanitarian ground, you can't, always this one. I understand that, our nationals should be given the first priority. One, okay, number one, and there are people trying to flee. It is a humanitarian crisis. Okay,
Right.
it is a humanitarian crisis. And that is why, in that context, what I'm saying is that even if you're getting, the screening has to be really thorough. You don't want, something like, we allow the Rohingyas inside here, and then, they have modules, here, they have modules in Bihar, they have modules in now, I mean, right up to Kerala, Karnataka, etc., all these places. We should not let that happen, actually. So that is a very tricky, this one, because, it is between, the devil and the deep sea. You do not know what to do. When you see someone is, about to die, you rescue him, or, you bring him here. And that is going to be extremely tricky, because not just them, Akash, anybody coming in from there have to be thoroughly under the the scanner for a long time. We just cannot let a guard down, because ISI can push through anywhere. That is one thing. We have a ceasefire on that side, so we see that the number of incidents and infiltrations have come down. We have that. So let's not let them use this route to push them all inside here. One. So that is why I'm saying.
And do you feel that India will give the Afghan repatriates the refugee status or not?
I don't see that happening immediately, Akash. No, I don't think so. I mean, it will just be on humanitarian grounds, and then, there definitely going to be talks once the government is formed to, take them back, because I don't think we are in a position, or we need to be in a position to, handle such an issue, considering we have, so much already going on here. One thing, because it is going to be this one. It is going to be this one. I mean, there is no harm. I mean, if they come down, they can also apply for citizenship. That rule is there. So
right.
Let them come through the proper channels. So if they want to stay back here, if they feel unsafe, there's always the government is there to accept your application. That will be read, vetted, and then the government can decide on whether it wants to give them citizenship or refugee status, whatever.
Well, on that note, thank you, Vicky, for coming and having this good chat with me, and hopefully we'll keep on having these conversations again in the next few weeks. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Akash.
Subscribe to One India channel and never miss an update.